On your left at Detroit Pistons, on December 30th, 2025, Twitter user Knicks Muse posted a screenshot of the Eastern Conference standings, where the Knicks were one game behind the number 1 seeded Pistons, sitting at 23-9. This tweet highlighted how close the Knicks were to overtaking the Pistons and becoming the number 1 seed in the East. However, this was just the beginning of the downfall of the New York Knicks. 21 days later, the Knicks have won 2 games in the last 11, going from 23-9 to 25-18. Knicks Muse has successfully cursed the franchise. Now, obviously, I'm kidding. However, that tweet and several other tweets this NBA season, especially the Giannis yacht video, is quintessential tweets that seem to predate defeat and several losses for teams and embarrassment. And this one is just one of the funniest examples because the Knicks have really imploded since the New Year's. The Knicks dam has officially been broken after their loss tonight against the Dallas Mavericks. They were down 75-47 at halftime. On MLK Day, the Knicks fans were booing them. Now, I say this all the time. The regular season is a marathon. However, we are halfway through that marathon. And it is fun to watch other fan bases try to cope with their team having a skid in January. However, at the same time, it is a severe skid. This is half of their losses in a 3-week span. And tonight's game against the Mavericks was really the worst. A nationally televised game, getting beat up in the first half by Max Christie, 8 threes, Najee Marshall driving against anybody, Cooper Flagg had no trouble scoring. And again, this Mavericks team is not good. They are missing PJ Washington, Anthony Davis, D'Angelo Russell. They're missing Daniel Gafford, Derek Lively, and they let their rookie Musa Cisse get a career high in points. Now, even before this Mavericks game, in the last 10 games, the Knicks have absolutely plummeted on defense, being the second worst defense in the league during this losing skid, only 15th on offense. Fred Katz posted that the Knicks are 29th in points allowed per possession since December 16th, which is even farther back than this losing skid. Some people were joking that because they didn't put up their NBA Cup banner in the Garden, that's why they're losing. This is why it's happening. There have been some pretty bad losses to Atlanta, Sacramento, the Warriors, and this Mavericks team, which really is the icing on the cake. You know, when it comes to skids like this, it's red alert, a DEFCON 1, everyone needs to be traded, we're blaming everybody, we're finding a scapegoat. Cat has been mediocre during this stretch. His defense and fouls have always been an issue, but it's been pretty bad, especially in this game. He was not good at all. OG and Mikal are both pretty inconsistent, and in this game, they combined for only 16 points together, which you can't have as your wing duo. They're both very expensive. Mikal, especially at this point, is not an elite defender like he used to be. They're very soft in the paint, and Cat and Brunson have both been targeted on defense often throughout the season, but especially during the stretch. They just come out with very little energy. They're not playing cohesive basketball, and it's really been a quite embarrassing stretch for a team that has NBA championship aspirations. And a lot of Knicks fans are really coming at the head of Mike Brown right now, which is funny because while looking up stuff for this video, I found a Reddit post from exactly 20 days ago of someone thanking Mike Brown, and there was a bunch of comments praising him. And now everybody is begging for Thibodeau to come back and calling on Mike Brown to be fired. It's hard not to look at him as being on the hot seat, even though it is his first season. Has he lost the locker room? I don't know. But getting players ready and focused is a large part of his job, and they've just been very aimless during the stretch. Another bad look for Mike Brown is how he's been calling out his players in the post-game conferences, especially Cat on several occasions. It's just not really a good idea to do that, and now we got quotes from Josh Hart saying this issue is 100% on personnel and not on scheme, and that players need to be professional. And again, this is Josh Hart saying that. This guy is like the comedian of the team. He's always been a very funny player, and him to just call out basically the entire team as just not playing hard enough, not playing up to their standards, is really saying something. All of this to say is that a lot of people are looking for answers and a scapegoat. There always has to be somebody to shoulder all the blame, especially for a team with the expectations of being the best in the conference and coming out of the East. I can't sit here and say I didn't have them as a top 2 seed in the East at least. And while this is all very concerning, they still are a 3 seed. Granted, they are only a game and a half out of the 7 seed. It is pretty tight from that 3 to 8 range, with the Raptors, the Sixers, the Cavaliers, all of them being pretty close. This losing skid, however, could not have come at a better time for the Giannis to New York rumors to start again. There are no real sources for this as of now, however, I am starting them up again because Giannis has always been linked as a potential destination to be traded to the Knicks, and with the Bucks season basically being in the gutter, it's the perfect time to start spreading rumors again, and I'll be the first to do it. But seriously, I don't know what they will do, especially with the trade deadline looming in just over 2 weeks now. Will Leon Rose and the Knicks take this losing skid that seriously to make potential big trades? I'm not sure. Again, as I've been saying, the season is a marathon. It's 82 games. A stretch of losing like this is not uncommon. We were seeing it with OKC. How they had, how they were 24-1, and then they have a bunch of losses. Now they lost to the Heat the other night. They lost to the Spurs. They lost to the Timberwolves. Good teams will always have stretches like this where they lose. However, a stretch where you lose 9 of 11 games and your defense being the second worst in the league is not something to just scoff at. Like, the defense was always the biggest issue and question mark for this team. Can Jalen Brunson and Cat, a duo who are both pretty terrible on defense, can they be good enough on defense to win a championship? You hope so. You hope that offensively they can make it up with how good and talented they both are. But again, Cat has just not been very good offensively this season either. He hasn't been shooting the volume of threes he needs to be. He is not strong enough in the paint. He's still fouling a bunch. And I don't want to make this like a Cat hit piece, but he just has not been good. Jalen Brunson, at the start of the year, it was like, let's take the ball out of his hands a little bit and give it more to, the other players. And now it's kind of like, okay, we need to give Brunson the ball a lot more again. And it's just leading to Brunson ball, which is fine and good. But in games like this, when he misses 16 out of his 24 shots, something like that, it's pretty ridiculous. Can OG, Mikal, Josh Hart, and Mitchell Robinson make up the difference on the defensive end? Clearly not, as the stretch indicates, because both OG and Mikal haven't been otherworldly defensively, which it feels like they need to be for this team. Josh Hart was out for a couple of games. Mitchell Robinson is one of the best rebounders, offensive rebounders in the world right now. However, they still aren't playing him enough minutes, and it's hard to play him enough minutes with Cat. Because, Robinson is kind of a 0 on offense, and Cat is almost a 0 on defense, so it's not very cohesive right now, that mixture between them. Is a move away from Mike Brown feasible at this point? Is it realistic to fire your first-year head coach in January? I don't know. You can ask the Bucks and Adrian Griffin how that went. They got Doc now, so, their team is what they are. But I still think there could be something real about Mike Brown losing the locker room, because it just doesn't seem that this team likes to play with each other right now. It doesn't seem, it just seems like there's stuff behind the scenes that just is off, because, they have been giving piss poor effort. And losing to the Mavericks tonight, being down by 30 in the first half to the Dallas Mavericks, bro. Again, I'll reiterate, the Dallas Mavericks. It's just unacceptable for a team that's supposed to come out of the East. It's going to be very interesting to monitor the situation going forward, because obviously the Knicks losing skid is going to be on blast by a lot of the media. This game, like I said, is kind of the one to break the dam, where now everybody is like, wow, what is going on with the Knicks? I'm even making a video about it. So there's going to be a lot of attention on them after this game for the next week. Because, a team going 2-9 in 11 games with championship aspirations, a team that with the Cavaliers is supposed to be the top dogs in this pretty weak conference, to have a skid like this where your biggest weakness is on blast and really is like, seriously, the second worst in the league, it's unacceptable. How could you not talk about it? So I wonder if all of this talk around this team and all that stuff, I wonder if it's going to light some type of fire around them to lock in, play better defense. I wonder if Cat is going to be able to turn it around a little bit, or is the defense going to continue to be bad? Is the effort going to continue to be bad? And again, all of this is happening just 2 weeks before the trade deadline. Is Giannis to the Knicks going to come back as a rumor? I don't know. Anything can happen, man. This is the beauty of the NBA. Thank you guys for watching, listening. Please like, subscribe, and check out the Pushing the Pace podcast on all platforms. And yeah, take care.